What is it?
I'm gonna go over that.
What?
I'm bad at spelling, my bad. Shogun stuff, right? Until the 1700s. So it's weird. Yeah, like military leader.
Guys.
Like Shogun. You know, like basically Samurai.
Okay, friends, good to see you. Come back out is old homework, so grab yours, pass on the rest, and we'll go over homework from last time, which was N, I believe, if I can go backwards in the alphabet. So, some of you have kind of seen that I had adjusted a few things up on the board. We're going to move the quiz from Monday to Tuesday. I didn't think too many people would lose too much sleep over it. Tomorrow, which is Friday, right? Yeah. We're going to kind of do a catch-up day. I get it. There's a lot going on. A lot of people are busy, and I kind of put a lot on people's plates. And some of you might be at the point going, I'm starting to feel a little overwhelmed. And this class, as well as other things going on in life, might be, contributors of that. So tomorrow, what I will go over today, it's the review. And so we'll have the review due on Tuesday. Got it? Does that make sense so far? So that'll be O. Will be due on Tuesday. After I get done with doing this and doing questions on it. We'll do the quiz on Tuesday. We will start. We're actually going to skip chapter 10. We're going to go to chapter 11. Starting on Monday is what I'll teach.
Are we going to go back to chapter 10?
Yes, we'll come back to it. Yeah, we'll go 10. We'll go 11, 10, 12. So tomorrow, I'm going to make it like the Friday before break. You're going to have one of three options that you can do. Actually, one of four options. Some of you are pretty much caught up in here. You took care of the capstone, you took care of the quiz, you took care of the Schoology. So you're pretty caught up. So that means that for that student, tomorrow is kind of like focus on this class or anything else of other classes you need to catch up on. Okay? I would prefer not to do the Schoology review, capstone review, because it's only been open for about 4 weeks. But if you happen to be that student going, dude, I've had 4 weeks to think about this and I've done nothing, then I guess maybe you should do that. The quiz that would have been taken before spring break, scheduled to take before spring break, some of you have done, some of you have come in and done it, some of you haven't done it. You have that to do, and you also, or you have the capstone on Illuminate to do. So some of you are pretty caught up. So that gives you some breathing room. Some of you who are like, oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed. Well, maybe after tomorrow's class is over, that'll give you a little bit of breathing room for the end of this week. Is that cool? Yeah, we got ahead of the other classes. We were in the meeting this morning. The other classes are still like on chapter 6.
Wait, what?
Class. Are you serious? Class.
I literally like 15 minutes with it.
Oh, because I think I said around 2 decimals. That's all.
It gave me the biggest headache in my life.
Does that sound like an okay plan for everybody? Is anyone opposed? And we're like, dude, come on, keep pushing through. I like being stressed as I am.
No.
That sounds like my sister.
I mean, some people thrive on stresses. Some people feel it, and I get it. It's So I think that being that we are far ahead. We have the one day that I don't want to say we're going to burn, but we can definitely help you guys out a little bit. So let's go to N. Letter N, 9N. And we are coming to the end of this chapter, yes? It's been a pretty good chapter. Capstones are still going pretty well. I had 2 people take capstones this morning, and both of them passed it, so happy to see that. And some of the questions that have come saying, when will I put the 20 out of 20 quiz score in for y'all? And it'll probably be sometime next week.
We didn't have to turn in today, did we?
Does K say a review?
Yeah.
Don't worry about a review. Cool. All right, so let's take a look at the last night's homework. See what we want to go over. I got them. Got a big piece of paper for you. Okay. Questions we came across off of N. Yeah.
7.
Number 7. Okay. That one, right? Okay. So let's condense the left side. So the left side condensed is going to be this. Then the right side stays this. Is that okay? What's the inverse operation of ln? E. Good. So I'm going to have a base e of both sides, so both sides become an exponent. When we do that, that cancels, so I get 6 minus x over x, and then x plus 4. Now, one thing we kind of have to keep in consideration. Notice I have a denominator right now that has a variable in it. Agreed?
Yeah.
I can't have a denominator ever be equal to 0. So we have to kind of keep in mind, just by not even working out the problem, that x can't equal 0 in this case. Okay, I don't know if that's going to be one of the solutions or not, but we have to keep this in mind. Good so far? All right, let's go ahead and solve this. I think I can cross multiply, so I have 6 minus x over here, and then x plus 4 over here. Is that okay so far? Because I could have technically put that over 1 and then just cross multiplied. Or, let's do the appropriate term. We could have done the products of the means equals the products of the extremes. I don't know why we all can't just say, dude, cross multiply. But some math person out there said, no, this is the more important way to say it. So I get that. So I'm going to put everything on the left side over to the right side by subtracting them. I'm going to get 0 over here. What did I do?
Nah, I was making a joke about the mathematician.
Okay, so if I add x over here, I'm going to get 5x. If I subtract 6, I get a minus 6. Is that okay? Factor. So I'm going to get x plus 6 and x minus 1. I believe that's what it factors to. Agree? This is going to give me an answer of negative 6. And this is going to give me an answer of positive 1. So now we have to go and take a look. I can't go natural log of a negative number. So if I plug negative 6 in, on the left, I'm going to get 6 minus 6, which is 12. 12 over negative 6 is negative 2. Shoot, I can't use negative 6, can I? So that cannot be a solution. Plug the 1 and see what happens. 6 minus 1, that's 5. Over 1, still 5. Cool. And then 1 plus 4 is 5. That's my only answer. This one's called the extraneous solution. This is our actual solution. Cool? What else would you like to see?
Number 18.
18. Hitting the word problems, huh? All right, number 18 says an altimeter is an instrument that measures the altitude in meters to air pressure in pascals using this equation. negative h equals negative 8005 ln and then p divided by 101,300. Okay, cool. All right, what is the air pressure at 6,500 meters above sea level? At what height is it? Okay, so we have two different questions. So we want to know this. So let's see, H. So this is just going to be our height at 65. So that'll be one problem we'll use with it. And then the other one is, when will this have pascals of 67,500? So we're given the pascals there. So the first one, I'm going to plug 6,500 in. And then the second one, I'm going to plug 67,500 in. So here, this means I'm going to plug this in here to solve it. This one means I'm going to plug this in here to solve it. Okay, and we can solve it both ways. I'm going to use our illuminate, or no, not illuminate, but our
Desmos.
Desmos, thank you. Okay, so the equation on the left, I'm going to go, one of them is going to be y equals 6,500. Excuse me. So that's a horizontal line, agreed? So if we zoom this out, notice, see where our red line is? It's here at 6,000, or 6,500. Then my second equation is going to be y equals a whole bunch. Negative 8005. Oops. Put a parentheses. We got a natural log. And that's going to give me p over, so we'll use x instead of p, x over 101,300. X over 101,300. Close the parenthesis. And enter. Okay, so do I see this anywhere here? I have to move my Desmos over. See our blue line now? We're looking for the x value here. So at 44,974.4 feet, we would have that, or at 6,500 feet, we would have, went wrong, have a height of that. So my x value is the pascals. Yep, that works. So this right here, this number here would be 44,974. Cool. All right, and if I want to solve the other equation, I just want to take. Who is texting me? You guys text me? That's my wife.
Probably playing second bathroom.
There's that answer, and then this answer here, I would plug that in there, so I can just do that on the calculator. So if I do that on the calculator, I'm going to get negative 8005 natural log of 6750 divided by 101,300. Did I go backwards on these? This is going to give me a height of 3249.7 meters. I think they said it was in meters. So that's what our pascals is. And that's our meters. Anyone know how far that is? Holy cow. So if we made meters roughly 3 feet, we multiply that by 3. That's, oops, wrong thing. So that would mean we're at roughly 10,000 feet to give us the 32, or if we had 67,500 pascals. Nice. Cool. Works for me. 10,000 would be an okay altitude. Of course, airplanes fly higher than that when they go on continental, but of course they have to fly through 10,000 feet in order to get there. Anyone in here a pilot? Want to be a pilot? So, here's a little useless information for you.
Are you a pilot?
I am. I'm a pilot for a hot air balloon. I used a hot air balloon when I was a kid.
Nice.
I had to go through the same ground school that aviation pilots of airplanes had to go through.
Okay, cool.
But any aircraft, unless it is taking off or landing, has to be a minimum of 10,000 feet above anything residential. So you're like, well, I've seen hot air balloons out by the reservoir. You're right. And they're not, I know. Because a lot of times a hot air balloon can get away with it saying, well, we just took off. Or, I'm going to land. But what would happen if you were 10,000 feet above the ground in Colorado, in Denver? That puts you at 15,000 above the ground. FAA requires you to carry oxygen if you're above 10,000 feet above the sea level. I will tell you, hot air balloons do not carry oxygen. So hot air balloons that fly in the mountains, you launched out of Silverthorne, that's 9,000. The highest you could technically go by FAA standards is 1,000 feet. But the FAA says you have to be 10,000 feet above residential. Doesn't really work, huh? I will tell you that we have flown higher than 10,000 feet above sea level and above the ground without oxygen for it, and you can survive. Most of you have done that as if you've gone skiing. A lot of, if you go to A Basin, I think the top A Basin is 11,000. Is it hard to hike around at 11,000? Sure. If you ever hiked a 14er, you didn't bring oxygen, but what did you realize when you did that 14er? You dramatically slowed down as you got closer and closer to the top, didn't you? Because you're losing a lot of the air.
What's the highest you've been in your airplane?
We got up to 14,000 above the ground. And that was in Phoenix, and Phoenix is at 1,100, so we were 15 above sea level. Yeah. And what's kind of weird, has anyone ever flown in a hot air balloon?
No.
One, I recommend it. Two,
I'll only get it if you're a pilot.
You got it. In order for me to reactivate my license,
someone's house
you got it. In order for me to be recertified, last time I checked, was I have to do a solo flight with 3 touch and goes, and then I'm certified to carry passengers again.
You should take us on like class hot air.
Yeah, it can be a field
No,
trip.
just take a few of us.
Yeah, just.
Our balloon, we used to be able to have 4 in our basket, so pilot and 3. Yeah, that was fun. We had.
What if the floor of the basket like breaks in your hot air balloon when you're flying?
Well, you're going free fall. Gravity takes over in a way that you want.
Too many fat guys in your hot air balloon, you're dead.
Yeah, the weird thing about a hot air balloon is you are in a wicker basket. So you know the basket that your mom keeps the blankets in the living room?
That's the best.
You are in like that kind of basket.
My dog can do this.
So fortunately, it's a little bit stronger and it's reinforced a little bit, but it's still. You start thinking about what you're in. So, what other questions off the homework would you like to see?
Can you do 12?
12. Okay, e to the x equals 10. Show the work. Solve the equation. Leave your answer in log form. Use the calculator and change your base to estimate. Okay. So what undoes e?
ln.
ln. So I'm going to do natural log of both sides. Those cancel, so I get ln 10. And if you go ln 10 on your calculator, you don't get 1 like log 10, but you get 2.30 roughly.
Nice.
What else would you like to see?
Can you do 8?
Yep. Okay, one thing I have to remember, if I have something in front of an ln, that becomes an exponent. So I'm going to bring this up. Is that okay so far? Yep. Being I have ln and ln on both sides, I can just set x plus 3 squared equal to 9x plus 7. I'm going to FOIL this out, so that becomes x squared plus 6x plus 9 equals 9x plus 7. Subtract 9 from both sides. Subtract 7 from both sides. And then I'm going to get x minus 2, x minus 1. Is that okay so far?
Uh-huh.
So my answers are x equals 2 and x equals 1. And I have to check to make sure that my answers don't give me a natural log of a negative number. So if I plug 2 in, I get 2 plus 3, which is 5 on the left side. And on the right side, I'd get 18 plus 7, so that's 25. That works. If I plug 1 in, I get 4 on the left side in the parentheses. And on the right side, I get 16. So I do have 2 solutions to this problem.
Wait, Mr. Syrup, so what? So like, what would be? I'm confused why they both like work. They both have to be like positive.
They both. So our graph basically, our graph will intersect twice. If we were to graph both of these, you would see, somehow 2 intersections of our graph somehow. And that's not really what our graph looks like, but it's going to be doing something like that. If we had an extraneous solution, like let's say one of them didn't work, you would get something like this, where you have one solution that works.
Well, like, how would you know if one, like, an equation doesn't work? Would it be like a negative number? Or?
Yeah, if in here, if you plugged in to your original on either side, so you check it on both sides, if you get natural log or log of a negative number, that can't work.
Okay.
Yeah.
What else would you like to see? Good? Feel okay?
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Make sure your names are on those, please, and pass those forward.
If you want to check these
My dude.
Will you follow me across and pick up those? You can pass me too.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then 17.46 and 17.06 and still wasn't right. So I don't know. I really haven't taken that for these right now.
That is on that.
Yo, Stu, we got an extra one.
For the log test? Yeah, yeah. I'll pull up the answer on school. I'll do it right now for you.
When did we take the log test? Was it this week?
So I gave people on the Friday before break the option to take it, or come in on your own.
Oh, is that what paper is?
Yeah, and then tomorrow will be a catch-up day, so you can.
Oh, I can do everything.
By this
Yeah. There probably won't be enough time to do the quiz and the capstone, so I'm just trying to take a little off your plate.
Yeah, alright.
All right.
You color the mustard paint.
So you're saying that one of the things on
I got it.
it worked?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pull up his quiz for us.
It doesn't go that low, of course. Oh, burn, baby, burn. Okay, everyone have a note sheet. So this is just kind of some review. There'll be time tomorrow to go over a little bit more review if you want. But then, that might be just more of an individual thing. So exponential form, logarithmic form. Obviously, if you have something as an exponent, something as a log. And then as we scroll down, what are these equal to? If these b's, if these match up, if this matches with that, those cancel. So my answer is just x here. If these match up, then I just get x there. So that's the big thing to see there on any of those. So an example of this would be like if I had 5 or 4 to the log base 4 of 20, that would equal 20. And on this one, this would be if I had log base 6 of 6 to the 15th, I would just get an answer to the 15th. So those are just examples of how you would see those problems. Okay? Write the property of the sum of two logs. So log A plus log B is equal to log A times B. I'm not putting it in parentheses. If you don't put it in parentheses, you're okay. So that's your general rule. The difference rule, if I had log X minus log Y, that's going to be, and again I'll put it in parentheses, log X over Y. So if the preceding sign on a log is negative, that means it has to become a denominator when you condense it. Write the property that the product of a number of times the log becomes the exponent of the argument. What? Right? I don't know what that's asking. And then they want you to remember that natural log is actually equal to, if you can't see it, log base E. Okay, so that's where natural log comes into play. What is the change of base property? So if I have log base m of n, can't take me anywhere. This is going to become log n over log m. So what that basically does is this converts it back into log base 10. So that's how you used to have to do it on the calculator, but a lot of the calculators now allow you to do the change of base. It's under the math screen, and then under the math drop down, and then you scroll down until you find log base. I think that's what it's called. And then it brings up when you find the log base on your calculator, it looks like this. And you plug this in, and it does it. So it does the same thing. Some math folks out there feel why do we continue to show change of base when the calculator handles it? And it is something that when you do derivatives and integrals in calculus, so derivatives, you're losing a power, integrals, you're gaining a power. It's a property that you do need to know. It's a pretty simple property though. Okay, use these to work them out on your calculator. So I'm just going to show these as change of base.
3.321.
Really? 3.1?
3.321.
Really?
Yeah. What I get.
Yeah, 3.3. Roughly. And then this one, how would I do change of base on this one? I'd do log of 5/8 over log of 3. And I'm sorry, I don't have log of 5/8 memorized. I'm working on it though. And this would come up to an answer of negative 0.428. Notice I can get negative answers. Negative answers do exist with logs. I just can't do the log of a negative number. We doing okay?
Mm-hmm.
Solve each property. So remember you have to convert into the proper base. So this becomes 2 raised to the 4x plus 6 because 4 is the same thing as 2 squared. 8 is the same thing as 2 to the 3rd. And then you just go ahead and solve this from there. So x equals negative 21. And yes, indeed, I can have a negative exponent, which is fine. This one, being I have the same bases as b and e, I can just set those equal to each other and solve. And so that's going to give me 3x over here, 12 over here, x equals 4. And then if you don't have an exponent on both sides, or you're not able to make both sides the same base, you have to start looking at it saying, okay, if I don't have e there, I need to do the log of both sides. Then x minus 4 comes down front. Log 30. Divide each side by log 5. No, you can't reduce those. You can't say that's the same thing as log 6. It is not. And then I add 4 to it. And then I get the hiccups again. Excuse me. So I get log 30 divided by log 5. And then I add 4 to whatever my answer is. That would give me an answer of about 6.113. If I have e as a base, what undoes e? ln. So I'm going to do the natural log of both sides. So then x plus 2 comes down front. And those cancel. So I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. So I'm going to go natural log 24. Whatever my answer is, I subtract 2 from it. So 1.178. Am I pacing okay? Number 7, clear up the junk first. So let's move the 4 over. So I get 3 to the 2x minus 5 equals 28. Equals 28. It's an equal sign. Do the log of both sides. So I'd get 2x minus 5 log 3 equals log 28. Divide by log 3. So log 28 divided by log 3. So I get 2x minus 5 is equal to 3.033. Add 5 to that and divide by 2. So x would equal 4.017 roughly. Sound okay?
Sounds pretty excellent.
How much more I got? That. One more? All right. What undoes natural log? E. So I'm going to put that in parentheses. E raised to the. Did that cancel? So I get 48. Oh, actually, no. Solve each equation. I don't need to do that. I'm sorry. Solve each equation. So I have natural log 48. Add 5 to it, and then divide everything by 2. And that'll be what x is. So I think you could do that on your calculator. On this one, I have one of two options. I might choose to do this. If I divide each side by 2, that's log base 10 if it doesn't have anything there. So I'm going to raise each side to the 10th, or 10 raised to the. Those cancel, so x plus 5 equals 10 squared, which is 100. So x is equal to 95. I guess I should double check this answer on the calculator. If it comes out negative, that would be extraneous, which I don't think it will. That's 5 divided by 2. So this would have came out to 4.436. Is that gonna? Nope, that's fine. And that other one, if I plug 95 in, I get 95 plus 5 is 100. That's not negative. That works. This is log base 5, so each side is going to have a base of 5 now to undo it. Those cancel, so I get x minus 3 equals 5 squared, which is 25. X equals 28. Make sure when you plug 28 in, you don't get negative. 28 minus 3 is 25. No negative. Good to go. This one, E undoes natural log. So I get 2x minus 7 equals e to the 4th. So 2x minus 7 is equal to 54.598. I add 7 to that to move the 7 over. And then I divide by 2. So I get x equals 30.799. Last slide, yes? Dude, we're rolling. Can I move forward? Does anyone still copy? All right, last slide. Let's see. Clean up the junk first. So move the 3 over by subtracting it. And then base 2, base 2. I get x minus 2, 2 to the 7th. So 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128. Add 2 to it. Make sure when you plug that back in, that doesn't become negative. It doesn't. We're good. 13, remember you have to condense it first on the left. So log base 3 of x minus 3, x plus 5. It's multiplied because that's a plus, equals 2. My base is a 3, so I go 3 raised to the and 3 raised to the. And that's going to give me x squared plus 2x minus 15 equals 9. Subtract 9. Factor this. No.
Way up.
12 and 2 though.
Yeah.
12 and 2, right? So wait, no. 6 and 4. So positive 6 and negative 4. So I get x equals negative 6, x equals positive 4. Plug those back in, make sure I don't get negative. Well, if I plug the negative 6 in, that becomes negative. So that can't be an answer. So if I plug 4 and 4 minus 3, that's a 1. Perfect. 5 plus 4 is 9. Perfect. So x equals 4. So x equals negative 6 is an extraneous solution. And then I have just enough time to show you just the first step on this one. I'm going to move this over. Condense it. Two to the. And then that's an x. So I'd wind up with something like that. All right, so my friends, being that worksheet O is a review. It's not really due. But worksheet O, I will go over a little bit on Monday. And being as a review, it's not due. Cool?
Yeah.
Did that take a little off your plate for tomorrow?
Yeah.
Cool. Happy to take a little stress off you. Have a great day. Take care of one another.
Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah, buddy.